The men's t-shirt hanging in Sarah's closet wasn't mine. Size large, custom print from Harbor Fitness Boot Camp, the exclusive one that cost $300 and required an invitation. I wear medium, and I sure as hell never paid for premium sweat sessions with people who drink $16 smoothies. I photographed the collar tag and the tiny laundry pen mark inside. My hands didn't shake. That surprised me. 20 minutes earlier, I'd been looking for my winter jacket and found someone else's life tucked behind Sarah's yoga pants. The grief hit like a rogue wave. I let it pass. Then I started measuring the tide. Sarah came home at 8, glowing from what she called her girls' night. She kissed my cheek and headed straight for the shower, humming something I didn't recognize. I waited until I heard the water running, then opened Instagram. Her latest post was already up, a mirror selfie in our bathroom, perfect lighting, that practiced smile. The caption read, "A real man never doubts his queen." I stared at the screen for 30 seconds. Then I commented, "You're right," but I didn't stop there. I'd already done my homework. Harbor Fitness tagged their boot camp members in stories, public profiles, cross-referenced photos, mutual followers, basic detective work, nothing illegal. The t-shirt's owner had a girlfriend, Elena Vasquez, according to her bio. Photographer, 28, relationship status, complicated. I tagged her in Sarah's post. The notification sound started immediately. Like popcorn in a microwave, then a machine gun. Sarah's phone buzzed on the nightstand. Again. "Babe?" Sarah called from the shower. "What's all the noise?" "Just your kingdom collapsing," I said to myself. By the time she got out, wrapped in her favorite towel, the post had 63 comments. Her face went white when she saw the screen. "What did you do?" she whispered. "Exactly what you said. I didn't doubt my queen." She deleted the post, but screenshots are forever. My phone buzzed with a direct message from Elena. "Call me. Now." I stepped onto our balcony and dialed. Elena's voice was calm, controlled. "So you found Tyler's shirt." "Tyler." I repeated the name like I was filing it away. "Tyler Morrison, Channel 7 weather guy, also your boyfriend." "Was my boyfriend. How long have you known?" "About an hour." "You?" 3 months. Her laugh was bitter. "He's sloppy with laundry. And with phones. And with promises." Sarah appeared in the doorway, still in her towel, eyes wide. I held up one finger. "Elena," I said into the phone, "I think we should meet." The Harbor Diner at 6 a.m. was empty except for truckers and insomniacs. Elena sat in the corner booth, laptop open, looking like she hadn't slept. Her dark hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and she had the hollow-eyed look of someone who'd been digging through digital wreckage all night. "Coffee?" she asked as I sat down. "Black." She slid a manila folder across the table. "Tyler Morrison, 36, Channel 7 meteorologist for 3 years. Side business, co-owner of Harbor Fitness, also co-owner of a Wandering Eye and a credit card linked to the Seaside Motel." I opened the folder. Bank statements, screenshots, time-stamped photos. Elena had been thorough. "You printed these from his accounts?" "Joint account. Still legal for 2 more weeks." She sipped her coffee. "He left his laptop open Tuesday night. I'm a photographer. I noticed details. Like hotel charges that match Sarah's book club nights. The evidence was clean. No hacking, no illegal access. Just a woman who'd been paying attention to the wrong man's digital footprints." "Why help me?" I asked. "Because Tyler's been using Sarah to promote the gym. Free PR work, social media management, brand partnerships. She thinks she's special, but she's just this month's influencer." Elena's voice was flat, professional. "And because I want to watch him lose everything." I studied her face. This wasn't about heartbreak anymore. This was about strategy. "What's your plan?" "Tomorrow night, Harbor Fitness is hosting their grand reopening party. Media event, local sponsors, the whole dog and pony show. Tyler will be center stage, and Sarah's running the social media coverage. Elena smiled, and it wasn't pleasant. Perfect time to pull some threads. I nodded. What do you need from me? Access to the boardwalk maintenance areas. I know you work nights at Seaside Amusements. Tyler's planning some rooftop shots for his weather segment during the party. Dramatic backdrop, ocean views, very Instagrammable. And you want to crash his photo shoot. I want to have a conversation, somewhere private, with witnesses. I finished my coffee and stood up. Elena? Yeah. This isn't about getting them back together, is it? Her smile widened. Not even close. The next evening, I was replacing safety cables on the tilt-a-whirl when my radio crackled. Mac, you got visitors at the north gate. Some fitness people want to shoot photos. I keyed the mic. Copy that. Tell them to wait for escort. The park closed at sunset during off-season, but we occasionally allowed commercial shoots. For a fee, and with supervision. I grabbed my keys and headed for the gate. Tyler Morrison looked exactly like his TV headshots. Perfect teeth, styled hair, the kind of smile that sold used cars and weather forecasts. He wore Harbor fitness gear head to toe, and his phone was already recording. You must be Mac, he said, extending his hand. Thanks for accommodating us tonight. I didn't shake it. 15 minutes. Stay in marked areas. If you break something, you bought it. Sarah appeared from behind Tyler's SUV, camera bag slung over her shoulder. She'd changed since this morning. Tight jeans, Harbor fitness tank top, full makeup. She looked beautiful and guilty and completely unaware that her world was about to tilt off its axis. Mac, she said quietly, we need to talk after... No talking during shoots, I interrupted. Company policy. I led them through the main entrance, past shuttered game booths and covered rides. The park felt different at night, all shadows and potential energy. Tyler chattered about angles and lighting while Sarah stayed silent. We reached the boardwalk overlook where Tyler wanted his shots. Ocean stretched to the horizon, lights twinkling on the water. Perfect backdrop for a man who made his living selling tomorrow's weather to people who'd forgotten how to look at the sky. This is incredible, Tyler said, setting up his phone on a tripod. Sarah, get some behind-the-scenes stuff. Elena's going to love this. I almost laughed. Elena? My girlfriend. She's a photographer. Really talented. Tyler adjusted his hair in his phone's camera. She's been helping with my personal brand strategy. Sarah's face went pale. Your girlfriend? Yeah, we've been together about 8 months now. On and off, you know how it is. Tyler started his recording, all professional charm. Good evening, Harbor County. Tyler Morrison here, with a special preview of tomorrow's weather from the historic Seaside Amusements Park. I walked to the maintenance panel and flipped the emergency lighting switch. The entire area plunged into darkness except for Tyler's phone light. What the hell? Tyler stumbled, his video ruined. I flipped the lights back on. Safety check. Mandatory every 30 minutes. Sarah was staring at Tyler like she'd never seen him before. 8 months. Sarah, babe, let me explain. Don't. I stepped between them. Tyler, right? You left something at my house. His perfect smile faltered. I'm sorry. I pulled out my phone and showed him the photo of the t-shirt. Harbor Fitness Boot Camp, size large, has your name written in the collar. Tyler's face shifted through confusion, recognition, and panic in about 3 seconds. Look, man, I can explain. No need. I stepped closer. But you might want to call Elena and explain why you're here with my girlfriend instead of home with yours. Sarah made a small sound, somewhere between a gasp and a whimper. Tyler looked between us, calculating. This is insane. You're both crazy. That's when I slapped him, not a punch. Open palm, sharp crack that echoed off the water. Tyler stumbled backward, hand flying to his cheek. That's for the shirt, I said calmly. Sarah screamed. Mac, stop! But I wasn't stopping. I walked to Tyler's perfect SUV, pulled out my maintenance key ring, and dragged the longest key across his hood in one deliberate line. The metal shrieked against paint. "And that's for thinking I'm stupid." Tyler lunged at me, but I sidestepped. He was all TV muscle and no real strength. He swung wild and hit nothing but air. "Security!" Sarah was screaming now. "Somebody call security." I keyed my radio. "This is Mac. Got a trespassing situation at the North Overlook. 2 civilians refused to follow safety protocols." Tyler was on his knees next to his SUV, running his fingers over the scratch like it was a mortal wound. "You psycho! That's Elise! Do you know how much?" "About as much as your girlfriend's going to cost you when she finds out about Sarah." I turned and walked toward the maintenance exit. Behind me, Tyler was yelling about assault charges and lawsuits. Sarah was crying. My radio was crackling with security chatter. At the gate, I stopped and looked back. "Tyler?" He looked up, tears actually in his eyes over his scratched paint. "Weather forecast for tomorrow. Scattered showers with a 100% chance of consequences." Elena was waiting in my truck when I got off shift at midnight. She'd been crying, but her eyes were hard as stone. "How long did you know?" she asked without preamble. "About Tyler and Sarah?" "Since yesterday." "About Tyler and you? Since this morning when you told me?" "No." She shook her head. "How long did you know he was lying to both of us?" I started the engine. "What do you mean?" "He told Sarah I was his ex. He told me Sarah was just a client." Elena laughed bitterly. "Want to know what he told his coworkers?" "That he was single and playing the field." We sat in silence for a moment, engine idling. "I have more," Elena said finally. "Screenshots of group chats where Sarah calls you old reliable. Venmo payments from Tyler to Sarah that don't match any invoices. Hotel receipts that line up with your work schedule when you'd be here all night." She handed me a flash drive. "It's all there. Timestamps, locations, even some voice memos Sarah sent Tyler about how to manage you during their transition period." I plugged the drive into my phone. The first file was an audio message from Sarah, her voice bright and casual. "Tyler, baby. Mac's working a double tomorrow night." We could finally use the bedroom instead of that sketchy motel. I ejected the drive. Jesus. There's worse. Want to hear her impression of you? She does this whole thing about your thrift store aesthetic and how you overcook pasta. The funny thing was, I didn't feel angry anymore. The rage had burned out somewhere between slapping Tyler and keying his car. Now I just felt cold, calculating, like I was planning maintenance on a broken ride. "What do you want to do with all this?" I asked. "Destroy them, completely, legally." Elena's voice was steady as a surgeon's. "Tyler's got a morals clause in his TV contract. Station management is very concerned about public image. And Sarah's biggest client is that new brewery, right? The family-friendly brand that sponsors Little League?" I nodded. It's amusing to see how family-friendly brands respond when their PR managers are involved in scandals. We drove through the empty streets of Harbor County, past closed shops and darkened houses. Regular people sleeping in their regular lives, unaware that some of us were out here in the dark, plotting the destruction of the people who'd betrayed us. "Elena?" "Yeah." "Why does this feel so good?" She was quiet for a long moment. "Because we're not the victims anymore." The Harbor County Brewery launch party was scheduled for Friday night at the marina. 75 people, local media, sponsored by half the businesses in town. Sarah had been planning it for 2 months, and it was supposed to be her big break into event management. I wasn't invited, but I knew the security setup. Hell, I'd helped install the lighting rig 2 weeks ago. At 6 p.m., I called Daniel Harrison, the brewery owner. Nice guy, 3 kids, deacon at St. Mark's. The kind of man who chose business partners based on handshakes and character references. "Dan, it's Mac Peterson. We met when I did the electrical work for your launch party." "Mac, good to hear from you. Everything ready for tonight?" "That's actually why I'm calling. I need to show you something about Sarah Martinez, your PR manager." Are you free for 5 minutes? 20 minutes later, Dan and I sat in his truck outside the marina. I played him 3 audio files from Elena's collection. Sarah's voice, bright and casual, talking about managing the husband situation and keeping Mac busy with overtime so we can focus on the important stuff. Dan's face got darker with each recording. There's more, I said, but I wanted you to hear it from her directly. More what? I handed him a printed timeline. Hotel charges that match her client meetings. Social media posts from locations she said were business trips, but she's clearly with someone else. And some information about Tyler Morrison that might interest you. Dan studied the papers. Tyler's your morning weatherman, right? Why would I care about him? He's Sarah's boyfriend. Has been for months. The same Tyler Morrison who's married to that real estate agent, Jennifer Morrison. You know, the one who sponsors your company softball team? Dan's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Jennifer Morrison is married to Tyler? Officially, yes, though I'm not sure either of them got that memo. I let that sink in for a moment. Dan, I'm not asking you to fire anyone. I'm not asking for money or favors. I'm just giving you information so you can make informed decisions about who represents your brand. Dan was already reaching for his phone. I need to make some calls. By 7 p.m., Sarah's launch party was missing its client. Dan had pulled the brewery's sponsorship and called 2 other business owners who were Sarah's clients. By 7:30, the catering was canceled. By 8, Sarah was sitting in her car in the marina parking lot, crying into her phone. I watched from the boardwalk, Elena beside me with a camera bag. Feel bad for her yet? Elena asked. Ask me tomorrow. Sarah's phone rang. She answered on speaker, loud enough for us to hear from 50 yards away. Sarah, what the hell is happening? Tyler's voice panicked. Dan Harrison just called the station. They're pulling their advertising contract. He's saying something about audio recordings? I don't know. Sarah's voice broke. My whole client list is falling apart. Someone's been calling them with stories about us. What kind of stories? True ones. The line went quiet. Tyler? Tyler, are you there? Sarah, I think we need to take a break. This is getting complicated. A break? Tyler, I just lost everything. My business is destroyed. I'm sorry, but I can't be associated with this right now. The station manager wants to see me Monday morning. My wife is asking questions. This is too messy. Elena started filming. Your wife? Sarah's voice went flat. What wife? Look, I should have been clearer about my situation. Sarah hung up. Then she threw her phone at the windshield. The screen spiderwebbed, and she started sobbing. That's enough, I said. Elena lowered her camera. You sure? She's not done falling yet. I watched Sarah in her car, surrounded by the wreckage of her carefully constructed life. Part of me wanted to walk over there, put my arms around her, tell her we could fix this somehow, but that part was getting smaller. Tomorrow, I said. We finish it tomorrow. Saturday morning, Tyler Morrison was supposed to do a live remote broadcast from Harbor Fitness. Grand reopening celebration, 7 a.m. live shot for the weekend morning show. Elena had insider information about the timing. I arrived at 5:30 with my maintenance cart and a legitimate work order. The gym shared a building with 3 other businesses, and the parking lot lights had been flickering all week. I'd gotten the repair call Thursday. Tyler's news van pulled up at 6:15. He climbed out looking like he'd aged 5 years overnight. His perfect hair was messy, his Channel 7 polo wrinkled. He kept checking his phone and looking around nervously. I was up on a ladder, working on the light fixture directly above his remote location. Completely legitimate, documented work order, full view of security cameras. At 6:45, Elena appeared at the edge of the parking lot with a professional camera. She wasn't hiding. She stood right where Tyler could see her, taking pictures of everything. Tyler noticed her immediately. His face went white. Elena, he called out. Baby, we need to talk. She ignored him, kept shooting. At 6:58, 2 minutes before his live shot, Tyler cracked. He walked over to Elena, grabbed her arm. "Put the camera away. You're embarrassing me." "Embarrassing you?" Elena's voice carried across the empty lot. "Like you embarrassed me? Like you embarrassed Sarah? Like you embarrassed your wife?" "Elena, please, tell me about Sarah Martinez, Tyler." Tyler looked around desperately. The news van, the gym, me on my ladder 20 feet above. "She's nobody. Just a client." "I told you that." Elena pulled out her phone, hit play on an audio file. Tyler's voice came through the speaker, clear as his morning weather forecast. "Sarah, baby, Mac's working a double tomorrow night. We could finally use the bedroom instead of that sketchy motel." Tyler tried to grab the phone. Elena stepped back. "How about this one?" Another recording. Elena's getting suspicious. "Maybe we should cool it for a while until I figure out the situation at home." "Elena, stop. One more." Tyler's voice again. "I'm not ready to leave Jennifer yet. She handles all the finances, and the divorce would be messy right now." That's when Tyler snapped. He lunged at Elena, tried to wrestle the phone away. She stumbled, fell hard on the asphalt. Her camera skittered across the parking lot. I was down the ladder and moving before I'd consciously decided to act. Tyler was standing over Elena, her phone in his hand, when I reached them. "Give it back," I said quietly. He turned, saw me, and took a swing. I'd been in exactly one fight in my adult life, 12 years ago, and I'd lost badly. But Tyler wasn't really fighting. He was panicking, flailing, desperate to control a situation that was already beyond control. I caught his wrist, twisted, and the phone dropped. Then I hit him. Not a slap this time. Tyler went down hard, clutching his face. "My face!" "Jesus Christ, you broke my face." I picked up Elena's phone and helped her to her feet. She had scrapes on her palms but was otherwise okay. "Elena, you all right?" "I'm fine." She was smiling, even with gravel embedded in her hands. "Did you get that on camera?" I looked up. The news van's camera operator had been filming the whole thing, getting ready for the live shot. He was still rolling. "Oh, Tyler?" I said to the man bleeding on the asphalt. "Weather forecast for your career. 0% chance of survival." Tyler's 7 a.m. live shot never happened. Instead, Channel 7 ran a story about their meteorologist being involved in an altercation during a remote broadcast. The footage was unflattering. By noon, Tyler Morrison was suspended pending investigation. By evening, 3 different gossip blogs had the story. By Monday, he was unemployed. Elena and I sat in my truck, watching the parking lot empty as Harbor Fitness canceled their grand reopening celebration. "That's it then," Elena said. "Tyler's done. Sarah's business is destroyed." They both got what they deserved. I nodded, but something felt unfinished. "Where's Sarah now?" "Probably at your apartment. She's been calling you all weekend." I started the engine. One more stop. Sarah was sitting on the steps outside my apartment building when I pulled up. She'd been crying for so long her makeup had completely washed away. She looked young and broken, and nothing like the confident woman who'd posted about being a queen just a week ago. "Mac." She stood up as I approached. "Please, we need to talk." I unlocked the door and she followed me inside. The apartment felt different now, like a crime scene where I'd once lived. All the photos of us together looked like evidence of someone else's life. "I lost everything," Sarah said quietly. "My business, my clients, my reputation. People are calling me a homewrecker. Did you know Tyler was married?" "Did you?" She was quiet for a long moment. "I suspected, but he said they were separated. He said the divorce was just a matter of paperwork. And you believed him?" I wanted to believe him. Sarah sat down heavily on our couch. "Mac, I know I screwed up. I know I hurt you. But what you did, It was cruel. You destroyed my entire life over a mistake. I looked at her sitting there, still trying to minimize what she'd done, still making herself the victim. A mistake? I said. Sarah, you've been sleeping with him for months. In our bed. You used our shared calendar to schedule hotel visits. You made fun of me in group chats with your friends. You called me old reliable like I was a household appliance. She flinched. You heard that? I heard all of it. Every recording, every text, every cruel joke about my thrift store clothes and overcooked pasta. I sat down across from her. The worst part isn't that you cheated. It's that you thought I was too stupid to figure it out. Sarah started crying again. I never meant for it to happen. Tyler was charming and exciting, and he made me feel special. You and I, we got comfortable. We stopped trying. So you decided to try with someone else's husband instead of talking to me. I'm sorry. She looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. Mac, I am so sorry. Can we fix this? Can we try again? For a moment, I almost said yes. This was Sarah, the woman I'd lived with for 3 years. The woman who made terrible coffee but great pancakes, who sang off-key in the shower, who used to fall asleep on my chest watching Netflix. But that woman was gone. Maybe she'd never really existed. No, I said. We can't. Sarah's face crumpled. Please, I'll do anything. I'll get counseling. I'll change. Sarah, stop. I stood up. It's over. It was over the moment you decided Tyler's attention was worth more than our relationship. She sat there for another few minutes, crying quietly. Then she wiped her eyes and stood up. What happens now? She asked. Now you pack your things and figure out how to rebuild your life without me in it. She nodded, accepting it finally. Mac? Yeah? I really did love you. I know it doesn't look like it, but I did. I know, I said. That's what makes this so sad. After Sarah left, I sat in my empty apartment and realized I didn't feel victorious or satisfied or even particularly happy. I felt hollow, like I'd won a game that wasn't worth playing. My phone buzzed with a text from Elena. Drinks to celebrate? I looked around at the apartment that was now just mine, at the spaces where Sarah's things used to be, at the life I'd systematically destroyed in the name of justice. Rain check, I texted back. I need to figure out who I am now. Outside my window, the sun was setting over Harbor County. Tomorrow would bring new weather, new possibilities, new chances to be better than I'd been this week. But tonight, I sat in the dark and wondered if getting everything I wanted had been worth becoming someone I didn't recognize. The queen is no more. Long live the king. But kingdoms built on revenge are lonely places to rule.